currently serves, yes, okay. He currently serves as the senior representative for SGSU. He works as an intramural sports manager for UREC. He's an Alfie scholar, a Costco scholar, an Ignatian scholar, and he plays on the men's club soccer team. Again, when do you sleep? In Abem's nomination, he's described as going the extra mile, as a person for others, and as a walking example of cura personalis. During his time at Seattle University, he's been involved in so many clubs, organizations, and projects. He's been acknowledged for his dedicated academic work, recognized recognized on both the dean's and the president's list. As his nominators said, Abem exemplifies the values and spirit of a servant leader. He's enthusiastic about helping others and always wanting to learn more. During his time at Seattle University, he's been recognized with the Seattle University Mission Award for Leadership and named UREC Official of the Year in 2021. He was also the student representative on the presidential search committee that hired me, so I think that makes him like my boss or something. Please join me in honoring Abem as our undergraduate Hunthausen Award.
All right, good evening, everyone. I just want to start off with just a big thank you. I'm a graduating student in the next couple weeks, and so these last few weeks have just been flying by. A lot of crazy things going on these days. Last week, I even got to throw the first pitch at a Mariners game, which is definitely wasn't something I thought that I'd ever get to do. And then, of course, graduation's in a couple weeks, and tonight I'm accepting this award. And it all feels so special, so first off, just thank you, everyone, for being here. I remember like a couple weeks ago when my SSU advisor Marisa first told me that I won this award. I honestly refused to believe her. I actually came up to her a half hour later and I asked, "You did say Hunthausen, right?" And so she reassured me that yes, that was true. And she told me after that I had to prepare a speech for tonight, and that's something that's had me stressing ever since. Like especially the last couple of days, my goodness. But I think part of the reason that it did have me stressing is, just because I knew I'd be worried about having so many things to say, such little time, and I knew like there would be things that I'd regret not saying later too. So just a lot of overwhelming feelings, I guess. And also just thinking about the legacy of this award, just thinking about the previous recipient, Adelia Watson, who was one of the previous co-presidents of the Black Student Union, who did some unbelievable things on this campus and has an absolutely unforgettable legacy. And so it's just a lot to think about having to represent this award. But I want to share a little bit about my story. And so I'll tell a little tale about how I ended up coming to Seattle U. And so this is how it goes. It was my senior year of high school, and I, at the time, didn't have any idea where I was going to end up going to college. And so one of my friends ends up saying that he heard about this college fair that was being hosted at Seattle U. And so there'd be a bunch of tables with different universities, and their admissions counselors were like, students can go and talk to them, learn about schools, like network with the admissions counselors and other students. And so we thought it sounded like a great opportunity to start figuring that stuff out for ourselves. And so we drive on up there wearing our white collared shirts under our sweaters, dressed to play the part. And we pull up to the Red Hawk Center, which is where the event was being hosted. And as we're walking up there, I just remember seeing like so many like students with their parents and families, and just having that like sense of intimidation, because like it all was like really overwhelming in that moment. And so anyways, we walk up the ramp, we get to the front of the line, and we get to the table where there's a man holding up a sheet. And so he asks us, "What school are you from?" And so we tell him Mount Rainier High School, which for anyone who's not familiar is a large public school in the area. Go Rams. And so he looks up and down his sheet and then he says, sorry, your school isn't on this list. And so in that moment, we realized that it was a private event hosted for like an exclusive list of private schools. And so we realized in that moment we weren't gonna be let in. But there was another man also working that event who saw this all happen, and he came up to us and he offered to break the rules. And so this man looked like us, and I'll now share that we were 3 out of only 4 African-American students that I saw there. And so this man lets us in, and he even like extends his contact information, just in case we ever like needed to be in touch with him again, because he wanted to help out. So we get in and we get to talk to all these different schools. It was really great, really overwhelming too. And I just remember at the end, I talked to like dozens of schools, and funny enough, at least I don't remember Seattle U actually tabling at that event. So I never talked to Seattle U table, but I was in the Red Hawk Center thinking to myself at the end of all this, right? Damn, where am I gonna go to school? And so talk about a sign from the universe. So yeah, I'm here now, but the reason for that is because of that man breaking a rule. That was a rule. And so rules are there for a reason. If everybody went around just breaking rules all the time, like that wouldn't be ideal. It wouldn't be efficient. But rules are there for a reason. And so it's the reasons that like we really need to look at and understand and expect that there's universal human principles and principles of civility there within that reasoning of those rules. And so I thank that man for breaking the rule, but the rule itself was already broken. And so that sort of thinking is what led me to pursue my study in economics. And I'd like at this point to go on into law. And so that stems from that sort of thinking. And speaking of econ, actually, I just had a class a couple hours ago. Yeah, and like it's funny this came up today. And so we're looking at wages and like social determining factors of wage. So we look at stuff like gender, race, age, level of education, parents' level of income, all these different things. It's like super overwhelming, right? But then our professor tells us that studies show that all these factors are determined by one specific data point, which was the zip code of the place you were born. That encapsulated all of those variables. And so just thinking about like the career that I do want to go to and just thinking about what I have to expect. I expect a lot of difficult challenges, a lot of difficult conversations. And that's definitely something that I've gotten a lot of experience with just with my experiences here at the school for the last 4 years. As of recent too, just finding out how there's gonna be massive changes to student health insurance on campus, just thinking about what that might end up looking like and not even knowing what the impact will be because I won't be here, right? And that's the thing, right? With when it comes to like health insurance and like all these different things, those are challenges faced by the university within, but also so much farther beyond. And so while I won't be here to see what goes on next year, unless I run for 5th year position, undergraduate student government, that's something I have to delegate. But that's something I've been trying to work on, is delegating. And so I'm gonna do that now because there are plenty of people in this room that I know and trust, and I'm comfortable leaving it at that. Yeah, and so with that, I think I'll just start to conclude. I know I'm a little bit over my time, but I just want to give a round of thanks. Thankful to God, thankful to my dad, who's actually over there, and actually I'll ask for a special round of applause for him. And then I'll finish off with just a thanks to the rest of my friends. A lot of you are out here, my family, the Alfie Scholars, SGSU, all my advisors, mentors, professors, peers. I'm thankful for you all, and I owe you more than a thanks. I also owe a continued effort to continue to honor the legacy of this award. Thank you and good night.